Hello, and welcome again to this dial. And it's always a pleasure to share knowledge with you. This video is instructive, and the subject is one mistake that highly paid employees make that throws them into poverty, bankruptcy, and insolvency. The truth remains that if you're a Nigerian, no matter how highly paid your job is, your space is still volatile. Today, the highly paid employees today are as unsafe as the poorly paid employees. So, and one of the greatest mistakes that highly paid employees make that put them in jeopardy over time is this: never be a highly paid employee that owns no business. Never be a highly paid employee that owns no business. The first consideration is the fact that for you to be highly paid, it means you're in a system, an organized system that understands money making, money management, and money multiplication. That's what makes you highly paid. And your connection, your involvement, your participation in that particular system tasks you to be able to understudy that system and find out what it does to be able to pay you highly. Now, you move this mentality and the ideology or your discoveries into doing your own business. Why? This serves as number one, you exercising your stay in that particular place. I do not believe that no matter what you do or where you work, that there are no learnings for you in that place. As you contribute, you also learn how the system works. And understanding how the system works increases your earning potential that can be adaptable in any other thing that you're doing. So migrating that experience into your own business is a security for the volatility of your highly paid job. The interesting thing is that there is a measure of lifestyle that your highly paid employment creates for you that you may not be able to sustain in the event of any form of eventuality. So being caught unawares without this one error corrected, that never be a highly paid employee that owns no business, you'll find out that you will be trapped in the event of any unfortunate occurrence or job loss only if you have mutated that system and grafted your learning into another business sustaining it. That what you have learned becomes the umbilical cord for the survival of your own business that will keep you going. You'll be making a terrible mistake. In the first instance, in the course or in the event of any eventuality, coping with your former lifestyle becomes very difficult. No matter the amount of savings that you may have amassed, your spending pattern, if it is not curtailed, by the time you curtail your spending pattern, except you're psychologically trained to adapt to your new reality. First of all, a low self-esteem hits you, and you find out that, oh, you used to drive your car everywhere before, the places you have to limit where you go to because you're expending money and not making money. So that leaves you at a depreciating status. Every single day you are not working to earn more, but spending out of what you have leaves you in a depreciating status. And that is the genesis of what? Frustration. Over time, if you earn 1 million and your lifestyle per month is 600,000, you have 400,000 to play around with. You probably have some investment, probably worth 250, and your savings 150, for instance. And if you have saved for 4 years, 4 years, you probably have 60 million, right? If you maintain the lifestyle of 600,000 expense, it will tell you the amount of time that you can. Dividing that will give you the amount of time for which your savings will last. And the truth is that what? While your income is on a reducing balance, your expense is increasing at a geometric progression. So you see, there is an inverse relationship between your income and your expenses. So except you own a business that you have adapted your money making, management, and multiplication system to, you will not be able to knock off your expense lines. Now, the trick of owning a business, say you own a daily income business. Every day you make expenses. So as you make income on a daily basis, the income knocks off the expenses. If your expenses supersede your income, of course, your upkeep is threatened. So if your daily income is more than your daily expense, you have daily income growth. So, and if you don't have multiple income channels and you have multiplied expense channels, of course, you have a negative variance on your income, negative income variance. That means what you're spending is more than what you're earning or what you're making. So highly paid employees live in a perceived comfort zone. I was a highly paid employee, so I know what I'm talking about. And when that employment ceases to be, so many things are going to happen to you that if your adjustment frequency is not very, very well positioned, it will take you off balance. It will cut you off, and some people never have that bounce back potency. To bounce back is difficult for many people because already you may have spent a colossal part of your life in that particular job. I went on this rescue project some years back where I worked as a banker. So I went to all the banks within my vicinity to do a 15 minutes presentation on my experience on the job and off the job as it relates to finances. And I came in contact with quite a number of people in this serious dilemma. A man was working in the bank and he had worked for 23 years, didn't have any business. So I asked the question, should you be asked to go right now, what are you going to survive on? And now I met another lady in another bank who said, if I cannot boast of 100,000 savings since I've been working for 9 years, I have always been about responsibilities of others. So this is a self-risk to be a highly paid employee that does not own a business or does not have income channels apart from his primary income source, which is the salary. So considering how bad and terrible the current economy of Nigeria is, such person caught unawares is going to have a miserable experience. There are quite a number of people, and I know that they can resonate, this particular video resonates with them practically. So if you work in a place where you are highly paid, don't trap yourself in that perceived comfort zone without exercising the best of that highly paid employment by owning a business. It could be managed by your spouse. An AGM that got dropped like this had a huge investment and was not carrying the spouse along. She didn't know how he was making money and all that. When he died and was paid heavily, of course, there are family interventions and interactions and all that. He affected the woman a great deal. Understand? Of course, the man didn't expect that he was going to die or anything like that. So the woman could not run on her own, had lacked business idea, no business capacity, no business acumen, no financial literacy, nothing. In 6 months, she was already trading off all of the man's investment. There was this first class guy. He had the first class and had worked in the bank for 15 solid years without upgrading himself academically or anything, and was told to go. And when he was told to go, he was already about the 47 years old. Now, he studied engineering, had a first class. He had totally forgotten about what engineering looks like in the first place. If he has to return back to engineering in the first place, his first degree was in engineering, and he was a banker for almost 15 years. And now when he was going, he was paid just about maybe 5 million or so. Has 3 kids, a non-working wife, has no house. Where does it start from? Confused. He has no business acumen because he has always been in the bank. Sunrise to sunset, he's in the bank. Took quite a number of his time, but the brain was settling a lot of people. The thing is that those that you care about and care about so much while you are highly paid, when the chips are down, you're going to be immensely on your own. In fact, you shouldn't be embarrassed that your colleagues in the same highly paid employment will ignore you. Not because they don't want to associate with you, but because it was your own also culture while you were working. When you were working, highly paid, too busy, how many people were you getting in contact with? What relationships did you keep? The strange thing about the rich man that will become poor is having poor relationship. Many people had terrible relationship while they were highly paid. So when they were cut off from their highly paid engagements, they were disconnected from the sources that were supposed to feed their rise. So you find it that what highly paid employees sometimes are more volatile to becoming bankrupt than poorly paid employees that are growing, that have a growth mindset, a growth pattern, not so consumed, but what growing gradually, starting small but growing gradually. So if you miss anything from this video, what I've got to tell you is never be a highly paid employee that owns no business, or is not investment conscious, or has not created other income channels apart from his primary source of income. The regrets are untold. Yes, I've come in contact with quite a number. You can be a banker. I've seen a banker turn a beggar. That is true. One day I went to a particular bank and I met a man sitting there waiting there, and he came out and said, well, he came for an interview. He used to work in this bank, and then he came for an interview here and he's stranded. He needed 1,500 naira, and he came to see one of his colleagues in the bank, in that branch, and the colleague asked him to sit down and wait, but he's tired of waiting. Can I assist him with 1,500 naira? Gave him 1,500 naira. But I sat back in the car and I looked. Wow, this is a banker turned almost a beggar. That's one of the things that spurred my going to the branches to do that awareness. But even when I got to some banks, I was meeting, the ego of the highly paid employee. What are you coming to tell us? In fact, there was a particular manager that said, no, our policy does not allow that and all that. I looked at him and I shook my head. If only he knew how caged he was by that particular mentality. So it's amazing. You can be a peacock, but you are as volatile as an ostrich whose head is in the ground. So never be a highly paid employee that owns no business or is investment barren. You are signing up for a financial mystery. You're going to be miserable and you will not like what your history dictates for you. So there's a need for you to be conscious about what your expenses are, your spending pattern, your expenses, your culture, your financial culture as it relates to you, and then your income as it relates to you. Very important. So if you miss anything, Don't miss this. Never be a highly paid employee that owns no business or is investment barren. I'd like you to like this video and share it with somebody, and like to get your questions. And I'm available for any highly paid organization or a manager that feels that, wow, would like to hear some of this and what we could do to prevent this particular thing happening to us. I'm available, and my contact is below this video, so you can share and share this with somebody. I'd like to get your comment, I'd like to get your questions and what you feel about this particular subject. Our subject of discussion has been that one mistake that highly paid employees make that puts them in financial misery. Thank you, and God bless you.